The inevitable is coming. Liverpool are now 2 wins away from being Premier League champions. I saw 1-1, even though it means nothing because they're still going to win the league, and even if they didn't win today. And we've kind of known they're going to win the league for the last 2 months. But they're 2 wins away with Tottenham and Leicester next. So that's 2 games you'd expect them to win because Tottenham today, Leicester, that's Liverpool are going to be Premier League champions. And the only good thing about it is, I guess, Arsenal giving them the Guard of Honour could be funny. Maybe, but I'd still rather Arsenal win the league. I'm a Man United fan, and you're equaling our 20 titles. So we're going to break down what we've learned from Liverpool to West Ham 1. A game where Liverpool started well, maybe took their foot off the gas after being 1-0 up, got a little bit too comfortable, the intensity dropped. I think, Gravenberch and Jones, they looked exhausted, they weren't quite covering that ground in midfield. West Ham made it difficult. All of a sudden, it went to being 1-1, and something just went inside Liverpool, and they were like, and they got it, and they got that goal through Van Dijk, hey? So let's review the game. My general thoughts: Alisson, brilliant. Conor Bradley, brilliant. Van Dijk, brilliant. McAllister, unbelievable today. Salah had a decent game. Diaz had a decent game. I think Liverpool probably did enough to win the game, but West Ham, they made it difficult for Liverpool, who are 2 wins away from being Premier League champions. 2 wins away. Arsenal have to look at all those draws and just think, Arsenal drew so many games this season. Now, a lot of people are being disrespectful, and I'm a Man United fan. I'd love to be disrespectful about Liverpool and in the Premier League, but they've won the bloody Premier League, saying Liverpool have won the easiest Premier League ever. No, Leicester City won the easiest Premier League ever, and that takes nothing away from Leicester City's achievement. It was incredible, but the Premier League that year, the standard was on the floor. The standard of football this year in the Premier League is one of the best for the mid and lower table clubs. It's just Arsenal haven't been at their very best. City haven't been at their very best. And people have this assumption because Arsenal and City haven't been at their very best that it's an easy Premier League season. And I've sort of taken that away from Liverpool winning the league this season. Because I look at it, and I'm going to talk about this quickly. This season is crazy. Look how difficult your games versus West Ham, Everton and Wolves are. Tottenham got battered by Wolves. Man United lost to Wolves. The fact that Man United and Spurs are like 14th and 15th in the Premier League. Yes, Man United and Spurs are bad, but that is also a sign because of how good the mid-table clubs are. Like, yes, Man United and Spurs are bad, but the mid-table clubs in the Premier League are the best they've ever been. This is 2 seasons in a row where all the promoted teams are going back down because the quality and level of the teams trying to fight. Forest last year were fighting to stay up. They're 3rd now. The Evertons, the Wolves, the West Hams. West Ham had a really good summer as well. Bournemouth, Fulham, Forest. Forest are a European side. Fulham and Bournemouth are pushing for Europe. The level it's been in the Premier League, yes, Arsenal aren't the very best. Yes, City have fallen off. But the level in the Premier League is honestly the best it's ever been outside of the top 4. It's Liverpool were the only top team on it this season. But you can't take that away from the fact that they probably deserve to win the league. They do deserve to win the league. I don't like to say that, they do. Bournemouth, fantastic team. Fulham, fantastic team. Forest, fantastic team. Villa, right up there. Newcastle, fantastic team. They're the teams you've got to beat. And, Liverpool, if they won all their remaining games, which I don't think they will because they've basically got the league, but if they win the next 6 games, that's another 18 points, right? 6 times 3, 18 points. So that would put them on 8. That could put them on 94 points. They could finish the season with 94 points. Arsenal have never got more than 92 points in the Premier League season or 91 points. So even if Arsenal had luck with referees and even if Arsenal didn't have any injuries, Arsenal would have to beat their all-time highest points tally, higher than the Invincibles, to win the league this season. When I think the mid-table standard in the Premier League is probably the best it's ever been. So as much as I'd like to chat shite about Liverpool and bring them down, they are worthy and deserved winners. They've dropped off this last month, and people were saying because they lost to Fulham, they're the most overrated Premier League title winners ever. I'd love to say that. But they've lost 2 games all season, Fulham and Nottingham Forest. I mean, you just realise how good Nottingham Forest are, and Fulham are very good. Just because they dropped off this last month doesn't mean they don't deserve to win. They've been incredible this season. They dropped off a little bit this last month. Exhaustion. Maybe they're playing too safe. Maybe they're too comfortable. And after their second loss of the season, people were being quite disrespectful towards Liverpool, I thought. And I have to say, Arne Slot is doing a great job. He's absolutely doing a great job. I predicted Liverpool to come 3rd. I thought they had a good squad. But I didn't predict Liverpool to win. Some people predicted Liverpool 5th and 6th, which I thought was crazy because you were right up in the title race last season. You dropped off at the end. And maybe this fatigue hits you. Maybe because I don't know, maybe it hits Liverpool more at the end of the season fatigue. But no manager has won more games in the first 50 games in charge than Arne Slot. You know, that's a stat in itself. But he didn't get a big summer spend. Chiesa was the only signing. He clearly didn't want Chiesa. You know, he's got the best. I know Gravenberch's probably dropped off a bit this last month, but for the most part, he got the best out of Gravenberch. He's done what he could with Gravenberch because he couldn't get Subamende. He's got the best out of Diaz and Gakpo. He couldn't get Anthony Gordon. They were the two players that he properly chased in the summer. So, you know, the truth of the matter is Liverpool are deserved title winners. Arne Slot has done a great job. I think his adaptations and tactics have been really good. There's been a lot of games, particularly the first half of the season, where he'd make a substitute or make a change and it would work. There's things he's got wrong maybe more this last month or two, and there's exhaustion, and maybe he could use Chiesa more in his rotation and using of the squad. But that's not Arne Slot's fault. That's the people above Arne Slot's, FSG's fault. That Arne Slot, while I think Chiesa and Endo could get more minutes, Arne Slot doesn't trust his bench. He doesn't trust. I don't think he really rates Darwin Núñez. They've not given him those players. So while he maybe could rotate more in the second part of the season when exhaustion's really creeping in, that's the people above Slot's fault because they've not done their job of getting Slot who he wants in, which I think they will do this summer. There is talk of it being a big spend. So let's talk about Liverpool 2, West Ham 1 and what we learned from the game. So I think McAllister's probably unofficially a world-class player. I said if Liverpool win the league, I think McAllister can be qualified as world-class because he's had 3 top seasons in the Premier League, the toughest league in the world. You've won a World Cup, you've won a Premier League. I think, you know, Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, Alisson have always been the world-class players at Liverpool. But I think McAllister after this season can be thrown in there. You know, he was Liverpool's player of the season, in my opinion, last year. And I think he's really stepped up again this year. I think Gravenberch was the top midfielder at the beginning of the season. Salah will get player of the season. But McAllister, this is really stepped up, where I think, you know, Gravenberch and Curtis Jones, people are starting to tire. He's soon to be Premier League and World Cup winner, and he's one of the most complete midfielders in the league. I wish Man United signed McAllister, I really do, because he's technically elite. His vision, his passing, his IQ is good. When he's got the license to get forward more, get between the lines, receive the ball, very press resistant, and can play those passes, he's brilliant. He literally can cover space. He's got the athletic legs to cover space, press, close players down, bring the intensity, bring the drive. He can recover the ball, he can defend well, but also on the ball, he's press resistant. He's technically good in tight spaces, can play those 1-2s, can make those runs. I look at it and I think £35 million is a steal. If Madrid came in for McAllister this summer, Liverpool would be well within their rights to ask for 80 million. He's 26 years of age. You know, I think if Madrid came in, Liverpool would be asking for 80, 90 million for McAllister. And if Madrid needed a midfielder, they would probably pay that. I think he's that kind of player right now. And I think, you know, because he's not Spanish and playing for Barcelona, he won't be seen in the same light as certain midfielders will. But he's just so good. But I think sometimes certain players, they can be really good, but they don't have that look, or they don't play for Barcelona, so they don't always get the credit. And I think McAllister is such a good player that doesn't always get the credit for that. And I think he's really stepped up. I thought he carried the midfield today. I thought it was Liverpool's best midfielder by a long way because he brought creativity, control, depth, and discipline. I still think Liverpool got to go and get a midfielder in the summer, whether it's a Stiller, I think would fit the profile. Subamende, I think he's going to Arsenal. Belieber, they need another option there because I think Gravenberch has been ran to the ground. I think Gravenberch has been excellent this season, but I feel like this last month, off the ball, he's just starting to tire. Curtis Jones looked tired today. Szoboszlai is normally relentless. You know, maybe Endo should be used more. I've always thought that, but yeah. I want to also give a shout out to Conor Bradley. I think Alisson and Van Dijk was top today. They're veterans. They show up in big moments. You know, when you've got experienced world-class players like Alisson and Van Dijk, it brings that stability. You know, Van Dijk has actually scored more goals since his debut than any other centre-back. Very clutch. Those were good today. They set the stability, they set the tempo. But the future, Conor Bradley, bigger role next season, maybe with Trent gone. I thought he was fantastic today. I think him being a natural right back, it helped Salah as well, helped unlock him. But he brings balance, he brings energy, he brings defensive reliability. He doesn't have that pass like Trent has where he could create this world-class chance out of nowhere. But in terms of a system, in terms of the overlaps, the movements, the 1-2s, you know, he's technically good on the ball, understands the game well. But it's his energy, his ability to get up and down the flank. He can run up and down so much, run at people, drive at people, tire out his wingers, tire out his fullbacks. He's defensively sound in the duels, defending the wide channels, and very good going forward, making the runs, making the movements, playing the passes. And I think Salah is complemented well by it. I think Conor Bradley is a fantastic player. And I think if he stays fit, Liverpool aren't in that much trouble losing Trent if Conor Bradley stays fit. That's the big thing for him. But 4 tackles, 6 duels won, and 1 key pass. Defensively solid. He reminds me of, Robertson in his prime, a couple of years ago. The right-footed version of Robertson. He's more of a Robertson than a Trent, but to play at right back. I think he's a fantastic player, fantastic talent. I think he's got a great future at Liverpool. My other notes were, I think Liverpool did turn it off a little bit in the second half, but West Ham scoring woke them up. I think after that, the intensity returned, you pushed for the winner. And I do think sometimes, and this is more recently, this is since Christmas, I think when you've gone 1-0 up, sometimes you've played it a little bit safer and you're taking less risks. And that gives West Ham the opportunity to grow in the game and slow it down and start to get a bit more of the game. And maybe it's the title nerves, but I thought at the beginning of the season, you were relentless 1-0 up, 2-0 up, whereas I think there's that, we just got to get the win. There's maybe that mental side creaking in. Maybe that's just me. Let me know your thoughts down below on the game. Thank you for watching. I do apologise this is out late, but I wanted to record it in half-time because I've got Man United versus Newcastle back on. It's 1-1. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Come on, Leicester. Come on, Tottenham. Get a result. They won't. Bye.